Start off this video showing a full moon. As part of one of the things I asked last month was that I be in a new place from the shelter to the wherever I would be, which is here now, but to be out of the shelter by the next full moon. So I'm going to show the full moon. I don't know where that will be in 2 hours from now, and might be out of sight. And that is the beginning of me showing gratitude. I don't have Hecate's sigil up here, but among Lucifer and Azazel, I did ask as well for Hecate's help. Specifically, these two spirits will be mentioned here in a moment. But I wanted to give the first part of my video as a tribute, my way of saying thanks, as they did fulfill their part of the deal. Alright. I'll have to turn my light on for this. Candlelight's great. You can't really see that much. So, I have here the notes I've been meaning to, not notes, but the story I meant to share. Let me pause my music here. And as tribute to spirits that helped me, I'm going to get off my lazy butt and make this video. So, alright, I guess I'd let you look at this. Or I don't have any of my paintings up. I don't have anything cool to really... I suppose this would be fine. Anything cool to really look at. Because I'm still getting my stuff together here. So I finally got out of the belly of the beast, aka the fundamental Christian shelter. There was a combination of things happening at once. The first thing I did was set a sigil, chaos spell, to help me find a place soon. So, I activated it with a little bit of blood, and then after that, I needed some familiarity. So I made Lucifer and Azazel sigils, which you can see here. This helped a little, and I received curious and concerned questions. Thankfully, no one made me take them down. So here I kind of have an example of the lockers. And then in my particular locker, I kind of had the door. It's a poor illustration, but I guess I'll do. Where the inside of my locker door and inside my locker had these in it. On the second week, I decided I really need something more. While I wanted notes for my channel, and this place was in a way an opportunity. However, there was worse things about the shelter than the religious overtone. I'll touch on these things on another time, but I journaled those for a separate purpose. So I do have notes in my, not the notes in for the channel notes, but like in my own private book of shadows, things that were wrong with it. I decided to utilize E.A. Coetting's book, The Book of Azazel. I'll show it here. Yeah, I definitely took that along with me. I have a few books here, but this is the one I'm making a reference to. I had luck with Mommy Aeon for creative inspiration for art. Some of the paintings in my earlier videos were inspired. So I looked for help for the other two spirits in that grimoire, which is the two you see on the right. I made the sigils for Pentosh and I know I'm butchering this, Halathor, based on the descriptions Yeah, based on the descriptions, I sense that it was Penthosh, which set the sequence in play for my escape. So, not to say that the other spirits weren't of help, but specifically this one, and I'll explain here in a second. So, in a nutshell, it was sleep deprivation over 3 weeks that led me to force an answer. The people there at night was always up, bumping into beds, flashing lights around, and not caring if it hits people in the faces. Occasionally, a crazy bunk neighbor cursing at me. It's just some weirdness. I won't go into detail. There's anybody can show up there, and not all of them are well or sound upstairs. So I had had enough. 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night for and maybe an hour nap at lunch while they ate was all I could get. So I told Vince, an older guy that I made friends with on the first week, just polite gestures and occasional conversations about nothing, that I was tempted to start walking to my hometown. I wanted to know what the closest bus route was to get, to half my walking distance. So he suggested one, but realizing I was actually considering it, offered an alternative suggestion. Vince said that he might know a guy who could rent to me. So during the 2 days to hash out the details and get in contact with the counselor, my friend Zoe and Danny were searching, or were screaming, they were screaming that there were red flags about the situation, about Vince's guy. So I did a tarot reading the last day before, and I actually got 2 results. I kind of do them in a span of like 3 cards, kind of like present or past, present, future of the next following week kind of deal. It's just something I rigged up. But to my point, I got 2 entirely different readings. One showed a negative outcome, and then the other one showed success through struggle. So, I'll go over that more in detail here later. It was like being told to keep my eyes open and listen to advice. Yes, I wanted out, but Vince's suggestion was a guaranteed today, but had shady undertones. While my friends attempt to give me one last alternative, I had that feeling postpone Vince's idea another hour, and I had a meeting set up for the guy to pick me up. So I was almost guaranteed to have the alternative, but something told me to give Zoe's idea first. So that's 2 people realizing I'm getting desperate for lack of sleep, and I managed to find a opportunity. Well, the office was closed when we got to Zoe's idea, but happened to catch the guy who cleans. I guess it turns out he's the actual landlord, but he at the time I didn't know this. He cleans and was on his way out. I told him the situation. He said that he had a room open. It isn't perfect, but it's a step up from the shelter. I had no reason to turn it down, and then I told Vince's connection, the landlord I had in contact with, that I found a place, but thank you, and then blocked the number to prevent any other problems. So, as far as with the cards, the first reading I got was a negative reading, and I had found out later that the place that Vince had said, well, he went ahead and checked it out, and he said that he was wrong and I'm better off at the place I got. Essentially, without pulling up the message, because this video is going to be long enough and I didn't have it prepared, did it spontaneously, but I do have proof of messages where he had said that there were no doors, and it was more privacy than a shelter. There's only 2 people, but the guy had issues that was downstairs, and there wasn't any real privacy, and so yeah. And then with the second one, which represents the second choice, obviously the one that I chose, Zoe and Danny's suggestion had a few things to work out, but it has a lot better privacy in what I call a two-lock system, which is nice. So when I say two-lock system, you have to have a key to get in downstairs. And then you have to have your own personal key to get into your own personal one-room deal. So it's not what I'm used to. I went from a house to a shelter to a apartment where you share a hallway and a bathroom, and there's no kitchenette. But it's only temporary until I get things settled up, so it's not a big deal. Point is that I suggest through working with Panache here, of all the people I talked to, Vince, which is one of the last, was the last one with a legit connection. He loved the worst sermons, quote unquote, and could get upset if you disagreed too much. But if you dodged the topic, he was just a talkative, kind of messy old guy. So, yeah, all I had to say with that, I guess, is that the connection that started off this was from an unlikely place. I mean, if I was to be tempted to pursue, I did once. I opened up this before I covered this with what I really think the Bible is. But, yeah, I attempted one Bible study with them, and it didn't really go too far. I'm sure many of you could guess where I went. Just showed them passages and said, could you, make this make sense, And it didn't really do much, and I was like, you know what, let's just keep things passive. So I didn't bring the Bible up anymore. But yeah, of all places, it was him that gave me the first legit start. And that kind of triggered everything else. After 3 weeks of getting my ID to to stay ready along with the notes, it happens to have a along with notes. He happens to have a guy, and he also had, although bad idea in the long run, by listening to the last suggestion, I found this place instead. I could also feel the pull from the Christian shelter, and I don't mean that in a passionate, like happy way, but a financial pull, where my counselor was convinced I wasn't moving out before 2 weeks, and I was gone the next day, so I guess I proved him wrong, but I was being encouraged I might get a refund if I paid in full and asked the boss, pay the boss and then ask, then there was no other negotiation possible. So yeah, they were wanting me to stay for another month so they can get that money. I mean, I could go into detail, but that's a different video. On the way out, I heard the last 2 cases recently that were of the shelter had got COVID and was taken to the hospital. Sadly, this doesn't surprise me with the teachings of the anti-mask shot. Preachers came through, the anti-mask and anti-shot preachers come through preaching BS. So, new place and goals. Next will be the Satan's Bible study on my channel. It may be a bit of a dry read, but it will give you examples and possibly an idea of what they think. So, as a last note, yeah, I did take notes nearly every day on that, as I said in my previous video, and there will be some repeats, because just like real church, it's repeat. So I try to keep it interesting by throwing my own viewpoints in there. Alright, so I made this as a dedication video as well to get the ball rolling again. So thank you, Lucifer, Azazel, Hecate, and thank you, Pantosh, for helping me out. Oh yeah, final thought has to do with if I can pronounce the name right. I'm going to butcher it. Halathor. Okay, with this spirit specifically, is known for helping you invest your money so that you can. I'll go into better detail in my next video, but essentially it's to helps you with your finances to where you can be more productive. I'm thumbing through the book here, but help you with your finances to where you can be more successful in your endeavors. Here we go. Okay, I'm just going to read this outright. So, he has revealed this one up here. See, Halathor has the power to help you establish a career that will not only provide financiality, but will also align with your greater destiny. If you are certain, or if you are creating prosperity for yourself, this alone is not enough for your empire. Or every aspect of your life must be made perfect, and perfection in this manner is not misery, but joy, sense and satisfaction in all things that you do, and all things that you have, and all things and people in your life. So, and can materialize inviolable existence in which you are wealthy, happy, and passionate, and moving in the direction of your own destiny. So the only thing I wanted to add to that is with the paintings. I went from a place where I had nowhere to actually sell paintings. I was in a small town surrounded by, to say the least, like-minded people who were not open-minded. Where now I actually have two places, a coffee shop and a pizza place just down the road, that actually sell art paintings from artists like me, just looking for looking for an audience to show it to. So I feel like there is definitely a connection with that coming in the near future once I have all my other stuff together. So that's all I wanted to add as far as where these other extra two spirits have helped and look like they're planning to help in the future.